Welcome back to the FlurrySports Podcast, episode 199. Next week, hoofda. It's a big one, and the only way you can listen to it is if you vote for the FlurrySports Podcast. For under best podcast under the Volume 1 voting, go to volume1.com, right? It's not .org. For whatever reason, it feels like it's a .org. Volume1.org. Look at that. Something was there. Volume1.org. Vote in the best ofs, best local podcast. Vote for the FlurrySports Podcast. Put in as many emails to vote as many times as you want. You can sign in with your Facebook. Super easy. They're not going to spam you. They're not going to do anything with it, but you can get a pretty sick, juicy video of us accepting an award and giving an award speech after we beat the banking podcast, the witchcraft podcast, which seems illegal. If there's a magician on there, just cooking up spells to get more votes, don't like that. But also if you're an IT person and can rig this election.
Dear China.
I mean? Yeah, I looked under the rules, and guess what? Cheating's not against it. So we can cheat. We can
as highlighted by Volume 1 continuing to win every year their own awards.
Yeah, no kidding. If they want to argue with me, if they want to play this clip to interrupt our award speech, I dare you. You know what? There's a lot of things I can say. But definitely vote for the FlurrySports Podcast. You can vote up to 3 times too, so you may as well vote for Lombardi Sweep and the I Don't Think So podcast as well, because they're solving crimes over there.
Speaking of 2 witches, yeah,
no kidding, if you have any cold cases in your family, some mysteries that you need solved, send them to Hannah Bruner at Elkmount School District, and they'll crack that code for you. Don't you worry.
The worst part is sending something to the Elkmount School District does scientifically have a better response rate than sending something to the I Don't Think So email.
100%. Yeah, for sure. I thought you were going to say sending it to the police, also true. Sending it to the FBI, also true. You know what? If you need your questions answered, definitely send them to Hannah Bruner, Elkmount School District, whether it be a mystery in your family or just like a Dear Abby column thing. I'm sure Hannah will just destroy those for you. It'll be fantastic.
By the way, can we start sending them suggestions for stories? This is a side tangent, but it's a plug for the I Don't Think So podcast. Can we start sending them plugs for stories that we know have already been solved?
True.
But I'm not sure they have. Like, I want them to be like, hey, I've got a crazy one. Why don't you look into I think the FBI might have had Martin Luther King Jr. killed.
For sure.
They might have had something to do with it. And then I want them on the show to be like, oh my God, it was them.
I think there's something weird with P. Diddy. I think you should look into this.
They did that 2 episodes actually. But that is a good one. Just ones, by the way, allegedly. Let me slap that on there so we don't, get raised.
Sue us. Fucking vote for us for local podcasts, then sue us.
We're taking our flag into Volume 1, planting it in the middle of the lobby, and then opening my eyes for the eventual pepper spray.
I'll just blind me. Don't care. I'll be swinging. I'm more dangerous if I'm blind. So dare you to pepper spray me. It'll be fine. We can start there. We've been talking about college football a lot because, as we noted last week, the most thing you've been bought in on.
Yeah, I'm hooked.
In a very long time.
The NFL hooked me back this week. That was going to be my thing. Is NFL has grabbed me again.
Okay, great. They do seem to do that at some point during the season. Do you want to start with NFL or do you want to start with college?
Let's start with college football. We're there, but this is a tease because there was some injustice that happened in Chicago, and we'll get to it. Okay.
I agree. I wonder if it's the same thing. Probably not.
Probably not. We'll get there. But here's my take, okay, on the whole fighting thing. There's a side of this no one's talked about so far, okay? If you're living under a rock, Ohio State and Michigan started beating the shit out of each other. Michigan planted a flag because they won the worst football game ever.
Terrible football. Yeah,
13-10. First off, no one should be allowed to celebrate a 13-10 victory.
Killed them. Blew them out. To be fair, they were like 21-point underdogs. If you win, do what you want. Talk your shit.
Correct. So that is my actual opinion. They won. Who cares? They put a flag in your field. Ohio State rips the flag down, here we start going. Here's the take I haven't really heard anybody say. Yes, Ohio State's in the wrong. I agree. What are we doing? Let it happen. B, silly of Michigan to be like, hey, I put that
Yeah,
there.
for sure. Well, they should have been surprised. Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State's in the wrong, but they're not in the wrong for fighting. They're in the wrong for getting their ass kicked. And then this is the coach should be. It's like, you didn't give it your all in the game if you still have the energy to fight afterwards. Yeah. Maybe you should try a little bit more during the game. But yeah, first you have to defend your field. You have to defend it. And Michigan has to talk their shit because that's hilarious and the most predictable thing. Told you weeks ago they're going to win this game.
Yeah.
But the whole thing, I mean, people getting pepper sprayed because there's people supposedly, if this is the case, it makes sense to me. Apparently they're pepper spraying people because there's people on the ground and they didn't want those people to get trampled.
Yeah.
So if we pepper spray people, are they just going to stand still?
Well, one of the quotes from the cops was basically, you can't name anyone I directly pepper sprayed because I sprayed it in an area, which I think might be worse. I think he just stuck his hand up in the air and went, we're all getting out of here.
Probably got himself too.
Yeah, I'm taking one for the team. I think that was silly. Here's my opinion for folks saying, maybe this is why I'm so fired up about the opinion, let them defend their field. Because I was pissed when Ryan Day said that. We're not going to let him stick a flag in our field. You want to know what would have stopped that, Ryan Day?
Right, for sure.
Winning the football game.
Oh, Ryan Day has no room to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Ohio State fans, especially, being upset. It's like, don't want us to dance, keep us out of the end zone. Don't want us to celebrate, don't let us win. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. But if you come in and disrespect us even after the game, the players should get the opportunity to defend. It felt to me like a hockey fight where it's like everyone knows at puck drop, they're dropping their sticks and fighting right away. Like, you got to let the fight play out. We shouldn't be stopping people fighting. We should let them fight until someone wins. Then you pull them off. But if you're going to stop them like 2 seconds into it, I mean, that's just going to make things worse. That's why people started to get trampled. Let them beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And like, also, we shouldn't reignite the fight again. We shouldn't reignite the fight when they take the flag. My big question coming out of this is, whatever happens with the flag, don't they always take it?
Yeah. Yeah, they always.
It's kind of changed my perspective on leaving it. I was like, wait, is the idea we plant a flag and then I pick it up again? Because that's lame. Was that your plan?
Then we walk slowly off the field laughing.
Like, I'm not going to leave the flag here.
Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, this took the headlines. This took the headlines. But rivalry week this week, I mean, there's shit that happened all over. There was other flags getting pulled.
There was like
fights and
3. Arizona State stuck a trident in the field.
Sick. I mean, I don't know if this usually happens, but I haven't heard about it until now. This should happen every time they play if they win.
Yeah. Hey, Iowa State, watch your ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Neutral
for sure.
Field.
I mean, if God forbid Wisconsin beats fucking Minnesota at some point, like, we should let a live badger out. That's what needs to happen. No one's safe. Colorado, you win, let the Buffalo run.
That's right. Let Thunder roll. Listen, we just let them play. Like, the flags either allowed or don't allow it. I think it's a bad take. And you and I are in agreement on this, so I won't waste too much breath on it. It's a bad take for anyone's like, oh, Michigan's got to have the wherewithal not to put that flag there. No. What are we doing? They won a game. Let them celebrate.
Is it disrespectful? Like, sorry. As if Ohio State's never done something disrespectful to them.
Wasn't as disrespectful as Nebraska not shaking Iowa's hand. I don't know if you saw that. Wasn't as disrespectful as the Indiana game.
That's true. That didn't need to happen.
But I wanted to bring that up. This was all a ploy just to say my favorite thing that happened in sports this weekend was Indiana going, sorry, Purdue, this is our way in.
Let me tell you this, though. If Indiana wins by 10, are they out of the playoff?
100%. We're not taking any chances. And
yeah,
they hate Purdue. It's also a rivalry week.
Yes, exactly. That's the added layer. But like Ohio State loses, that's a knock to their resume. So if they barely won, I think they might be out.
Well, listen, I didn't know if we want to get into this, but like for seeding stuff, all the Tennessee, Ohio State, Indiana, likely one of those two teams is not going to host a playoff game.
Right.
And the eye test would tell you that team is Indiana. But did Indiana do enough with the 66-0 win?
Yeah, what else could they have done?
And here's I've got an opinion on it, and I wonder if you'll share it. It's as simple as this. If Oregon or Texas lose next week, I think Ohio State should travel and should play that team.
The team that won? Or
travel, not host. You know what I mean? So it's like if, let's say, Oregon loses the Big Ten championship. Oregon hosts. This is the only in-conference game I'll accept. That's the one I kind of want to happen is Ohio State, we will not suspend any of your players. We will, however, make you play Oregon.
I like that. I think that's fair.
Or let's say Oregon and Texas hold on. Ohio State, congrats. You get to be the host of a game. You are playing, that's right, Georgia.
True.
By the way, the committee's definitely using Georgia as a punishment. We just haven't been able to figure out who they're punishing yet.
It better not be Indiana, Boise State, somebody like that. Let them play.
Punishing someone for existing, which I do think might be the route they go. But I found a fun wrinkle, which is, all right, Ohio State, you can host. Go get them, boys.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is Georgia going to be bad in the cold? Probably not, but it does make me nervous.
Oh, I don't know. Is Georgia got their head on straight now after 8 overtimes?
That is, oh, God.
They survived a swinging gate, dude.
Oh, the joy in my heart. It's like 8th overtime, breaking out the swinging gate, the most glorious football situation of all time. And then they go away from the numbers and go towards the weak side. Like, what are we doing? Georgia Tech, you had it. Winning an 8 overtime game against Georgia with the swinging gate is stories you'll tell your great-great-grandchildren.
Yeah, well, they overbeat the eggs because for those not watching, one, what the hell were you doing on Black Friday?
True.
Georgia Tech had them where they wanted them, let them off the hook. That quarterback's going to be somewhere else next year, and it's going to be great. Transfer portal, here he comes. But any case, they're up. Here's all you need to know. This was why it was perfect, Zach. Perfect. Because Kirby Smart, that little asshole, was using his timeouts. That was the best part. Every overtime, he gets a timeout. He lets him set up. He calls a timeout. And I'm sitting there going, run the swinging gate. That's all I want them to do, or something like that. I literally called my dad. Pete Osmond could be a witness. I called him, and I'm like, I don't know if you're watching. He was asleep. I woke him up, said, turn on the Georgia game. And I said, why are they coming out in the same play? They should just. Right. And I said something like the swinging gate. I was like, they obviously won't do that, but they should come out just like trips or something. Wrong. Out they come of a timeout. Suddenly we're in swinging gate. There's people in Georgia motioning with both hands. That's how you know you got them.
Yeah, they're done. They're done if they're doing that.
And I literally think that, like, because the play was designed of, like, they thought of it during that timeout. It's the only thing I can think of is, like, we're going to do it here. I think the quarterback panicked and was like, oh, they're over there. Let's do. No, you have to. That's not how the swinging gate works. They're not going to not go over there. You just have to also just beat them there.
Just count the numbers. Just count the numbers and trust. You can't hesitate on a swinging gate. Like, the whole point is you got to go. You got to run to the line. You got to fucking go. And in terms of Kirby Smart using his timeouts, Jake, did you want him to bring him home with him? Because it's the only thing I know about timeouts. You can't bring them home with you. You might as well use them.
No, what I wanted was, it's one of those moments where I'm sitting there going, okay, new rule, please. They don't get one every overtime. That's all we need.
Every 2.
By the way, I think they should get 3 timeouts in college when they head into overtime. Use them as you want them.
Sure.
If you think you're going 9 overtimes, save them. Because at some point, I'm with you. I got mad at the Georgia Tech guy for not using his.
Yeah, of course. If it doesn't work out, you got to do it.
Because he's getting mad at Kirby. People are getting sideline warnings. I don't know what's going on. Also, don't make him. Why are we switching field position every time?
I hate that. I mean, it's in the rule book. I hate it. I understand it if there's weather, but let's just use common sense. Like, we're good.
That was silly. We're walking the whole field every time, killing momentum. Georgia Tech just had to go 2 beats in a row. Yeah, that game was crazy. It was so good.
It was great.
Yeah, I want Georgia Tech in instead of Ohio State.
I like Georgia Tech from the first week when beat the brakes out of FSU. So good. Yeah. So much fun. And once a yellow jacket, always yellow jacket. What do you want me to do? Like they're so of course I would love Georgia Tech.
That's such a niche joke for folks.
It's true though.
Folks have to know your academic background and the Georgia Tech mascot. I like it. It's a joke got layers.
I mean, it's not a joke. It's how I live my life. There's also, I had to look this up. I don't think there's another D1 yellow jacket. I think there's the only one.
I think you are correct. So that part I agree on. Listen, Georgia Tech has a win over Miami. They're tough. An article you can go read now on Flurry Sports to plug something that's out there. I talked through some of the logic the committee's going to be putting out there of what the hell they do. And I honestly think the Georgia Tech game, I'm out on people saying the ACC's bad. Like, if that's going to be what happens after next weekend, they go, that conference should miss completely. I'm out on that. I think that conference it made me feel better about the strength of some of the ACC team schedule, namely SMU.
Sure. I think SMU's good. I don't think they're elite. I think ACC is not very good. However, I think they're better than Big 12.
Which is what we're talking about. Yeah.
Right. And I think SEC isn't the SEC. Like, I don't think they're head and shoulders tougher than everybody. I think once you started to pay everybody else, I'm like, that's the whole reason for parity in college football right now. Like, all of a sudden there's more teams that are good than just the SEC because we're all on even playing fields now.
Yeah, absolutely. And also the SEC's whole thing is, said this last week, they're not losing to the other SEC. Like, if you look through, like, Alabama has beat some of the other strong SEC teams. I think that's their best qualities. They have good ranked wins. Georgia barely has any, like, awesome wins.
I agree.
Some of Georgia's best wins are out of conference. Like, okay, you beat Clemson right away. That's great. You know, Dabble's boys might make it in. So good for you. But
you caught them at the best time because try it again.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's like Bama's beat some people. But otherwise, it's like, yeah, they've lost to some of the other ones out there. But it's like, we're losing to Vandy. We're losing to, you know, Texas Tech has weird wins over a lot of teams out there. Florida and LSU are not good teams anymore. So I don't know. It's just the SEC is I guess the SEC defender is looking more and more crazy. That'd be the way I'd put it. Is I can't prove Nick Saban wrong when he's like the worst team in the SEC is the second best team in the ACC. But I also it's going to get harder and harder to prove him right, which I think is going to eventually kill that argument. Because you can't, like, I hear you, I see you, I can understand that. Missouri and SMU play head to head, like, maybe, but it's like, I'm going to pick SMU.
Yeah. SMU is a good team. They'll be given the opportunity to legitimize themselves. Again, the worry is they draw Georgia or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worry is, listen, the article's got every way it could go. My worry is, I was thinking more about it today, is it is not a 0% chance that the committee does one of two things to keep SMU out if they lose. If they win, they're in, obviously. But if they lose, there's a world where the committee just goes, no ACC team is in at all. I don't think that's the case at this point, but the one I was thinking of today is they could go, we're just taking the champion. That doesn't make any sense to me, but does SMU have enough of a pedigree to be like, we know they're better than Clemson? Maybe not. The committee could look at that and go, no, we're only going to take one, but it's just going to be the champion.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think there's a real possibility. I won't spoil what my most chaotic take is. I think Dabo and the boys have Alabama's number. So if that's what it comes down to, I think that's a bad matchup for Alabama in terms of the committee selection. But don't you think it is so committee to be like, we've already decided SMU is in. We're just not going to deal with it. We've decided going into this week that if SMU wins, great, we proved our point. And if they lose, no, we've already put Alabama's names on the invitations. We think the Big 12 should get in, and we've decided SMU is the team. If they played Clemson again, they'd win. That'd be the argument,
I agree. I think they've decided what they want to do, though, and I just think what they're just deciding when and you're in. That's what I think they're doing, because there's a few things that this committee is like very much like they're very strong their stance on, and I think the whole thing about expanding to 12 and then soon to 14 is that there's going to be more conference exposure in this. So I think they want all the power conferences, to get in. So I think there's a decent chance there's one ACC, there's one Big 12, there's, and then the rest goes to Big 10, SEC essentially. I think in their mind, it's automatically, it's unofficially official. If you win a power conference, you're in. I think.
I agree. I think the question there will be, again, that'll come down to then, I hope you're right. And I think that's a very interesting conversation of, weirdly, if you were following along at 1,000 feet, the one thing that happened this weekend is the only outcome in my article last week that we talked about at the show. There was one outcome that guaranteed the Big 12 was in, and it happened. 2 ACC teams lost. And specifically, it had to be Miami and Clemson. And now they're in. So the Big 12's in for sure. That's the part that's weird, is like, now that's the part I wish the committee would decide, is now you're telling me that's where they would lose me, is if they go, now we think the Big 12 is better than the ACC, they would lose me. Like you had both of these 2 lost teams ranked behind Miami, Clemson, and SMU this week. And now you're going to totally jump them ahead of everyone else. That would be silly to me. Dislodge them in that way. But I think the question is going to come down to, if Clemson wins, it'll just be, the other way to think of that argument is, do you take a 2-loss SMU team or do you take a 3-loss Alabama team? That'll be the question they wrestle with. And really what they'll be deciding then is Alabama Clemson again. So there's a lot to think of there. I started the article this way, and I will say now, folks, we are in the danger zone. The only conference game that matters is Boise State. Boise State can't lose. Boise State, I had to listen to 8 overtimes of the broadcasters tell me nothing Georgia did mattered.
Exactly. That was the thing. Like 8 overtimes, and there really isn't stakes on this game.
No, they said over and over, if they win, nothing matters in conference championship week. They wanted that message out there. Don't talk to me about 3 losses. We don't care what else happens. There's no way we're taking Georgia out of the playoff. Okay, why are we playing the game? I thought that was silly. And listen, the rest of the chaos happened, and it ended up defending that endpoint no matter what. But Georgia's going to be in. But now, Big 12's in no matter what, which is kind of fun. And I also think, Zach, a moment of applause, because no matter what, I think Miami's out.
Thank God. Yeah, fuck them.
Fuck them.
Bring Ohio State with you.
Yeah, there's no world where they go out. The only team, I guess the plucky underdogs are going to feel bad. South Carolina is screwed. I don't think they have a path in besides Boise State losing. And even
still, yeah.
I'm afraid here's the only thing that can happen. If Boise State loses and the committee goes, we're taking back Miami.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose my mind. Don't take Miami over South Carolina.
No. I actually, that they may do that just for ratings.
And that would be, again, assuming the other games hold, that would be the choice. Or you take a BYU team.
which is fun. I think BYU in is fun. I don't think
those are the two loss. You either take, because again, Alabama would already be in at that point. I think, according to the AP roll, like I think Alabama will be ranked 11th going into this week.
Yeah, probably. And Randy, appreciate your comments. You're welcome with your fantasy matchup. I'd like to point this out because I don't necessarily disagree with this, okay? Randy is the only person who thinks the playoff should be smaller. He says it should be 8 instead of 12. I don't necessarily disagree.
It was silly to not do a dividend of 4. It was silly not to do a dividend of 4.
Yeah, do 16, do a different number. Like 8, I appreciate more than 12. I really do.
They only did it to 12 so they could let them keep expanding.
Yeah, and they already announced they are for next year. So
yeah, you can get your comments in live. We'll read them out. Like this take, which I do want to say, how bad was it that a lot of Georgia fans left even before the overtimes?
Insane.
And then they showed. But Randy, would you rather have had that happen than my favorite sports feature, which is Traffic Cam?
That's true. That is great. People
got clips. People are turning around in Atlanta. That was my favorite commenter take. Definitely not Atlanta, still Athens, but okay, they're turning around, and also fans huddled up on the railing.
Yeah, turn the car up. We got to go back to the stadium.
By the way, if you left that game, you left quick because it went from non-competitive to competitive real fast. Whoever decided their line was the 5:30 mark, that was silly.
That is so stupid. Yeah, that. Fourth quarter, like you wouldn't have left in the fourth quarter. You would have had to leave before that.
Yeah, you always stay until the end of the game. Also, take your loss, man.
Yeah. You gotta sit there and be miserable with your team. You win with your team, you lose with your team. Can't be beating the traffic.
Also, they obviously don't have the Osmond family mentality, because I guarantee you what my dad and I would have been talking about is if we leave this game, it's going to go 8 overtimes.
True. And I paid for these seats.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not spending my money. But, it's like, we will jinx this. If we leave, they will come back. There's no way around it.
Be the biggest fool of all time. Like, I missed the greatest comeback of all time. How could I do that? You missed a swinging gate.
You missed a swinging gate. You missed that. You missed white boy strip sack.
Yeah.
Rare occurrence these days.
Yeah.
But Zach, speaking of things we missed, Thanksgiving came around. I'm going to use this as a segue. Thanksgiving came around. I'm loading up on plate number 3. I'm up there. I'm getting dirty with it. I'm knee deep in 7-layer Jell-O.
The best.
Yeah. I made my own Jell-O. Pretty good. Used a bundt cake fan, so it was very thin, but it tasted great. In a bundt cake pan? I forgot I didn't have a Jell-O mold. So in a bundt cake pan, it went thin, but good Jell-O. Anyway, I'm working on my Jell-O plate. There was other food on it too, mostly more stuffing and chicken. And I hear commotion because this is the Thanksgiving issue. The Bears are done, right? I don't have to keep watching the game. The game is over. Wrong. Caleb Williams and the boys. They're back.
I'm back.
They're on a run. The Lions, are they screwed? Are they over? And then, has this ever happened? This is my level of injustice. I mentioned this at the start of the show. Why did we all come together here and go, he should be fired? That was my only thing, was like, I get it. And it's like, Mike McCarthy still has a job.
There's so many layers. He was fired because he fully lost the locker room. Like, he got interrupted by one of his defensive players, but I wasn't there. So I don't know, but let's imagine this scenario, because they just got lost again. Apparently he was given the stupid speech of, this is the adversity we need. This is the kind of things that, pressure builds diamond. He was given that speech, and then their Pro Bowl cornerback stepped in and went on a tirade. I don't know if it was directed at him, but couldn't you see a scenario where the player, Eberflus is the defensive coach, right? So he's like, I'm going to say what my coach politically can't say. You guys are a bunch of bitches. You guys fucked up. We need to be more accountable. Like, maybe he was standing up for his head coach. We don't know. Could be fully the opposite. And by the way, Eberflus shouldn't have had a job coming into this year. So like this isn't a surprise. But this game, there's three things that are going on. There we go. At the end of this game, right? It's clock management situation. The people on the field, you have the ball. So who are the three people at play? The quarterback, the play caller, and the head coach. The head coach has the situation figured out. He said the play needs to be run at this time. The other two people, the quarterback, who doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and the play caller, who may be still adding things to the play because Caleb Williams is changing the play at the line of scrimmage after when the ball's supposed to be snapped, right? So either the play caller is still saying shit and fucking everything up, or Caleb Williams is not knowing anything and going off script and doing his own thing and also fucking up. The one person for sure not at fault is Eberflus.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here. Comments are right. Everyone was watching, so it was like a collective moment where it's like it's done. And point just made. I think the issue is how many times do you think he gave that same speech to the locker room this year?
For sure. He lost the locker room. That's why he was fired. And he may have not lost the locker room. It's just the report came out. A reporter buried him. And that's why. However, this game was not on him. And in fact, the defense is the only thing good about this team.
Yeah. If anything, play calling's atrocious. They put the person who's in charge of play calling now in charge.
He's now the head coach. Exactly. Yeah. The two people at fault are elevated in their roles now. They're elevated. And also, this guy who everyone's applauding, Thomas Brown, he went from passing game coordinator to head coach in under a year. And maybe the guy who's fucking up in the ear of the quarterback, who's extremely inexperienced, is making the mistakes because he's inexperienced. And now let's elevate him more. And the Bears are saying, this guy could actually be their next head coach. And there's other people saying, this guy is actually Mike Tomlin. He's a black young head coach. He's Mike Tomlin. He's Mike Tomlin. Like, he is obviously Mike Tomlin. I've heard that too much today. And it's the Julian Edelman white wide receiver conversation. Like, this guy could completely stink. And I would love nothing more as a Packer fan. Well, but the Bears are doing the Bears once again.
The Bears should be bad this year. That's the part where it's like Bears fans are going to disagree with that. This is a tank year. That's why they kept Eberflus. That's the part that threw me for a loop is like, pick your lane. Like, this guy's doing what you left him in there to do, which is to be a lame duck for a year so you can advertise Bill Belichick to Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Get him to come in when whatever coach you pick sees how good Caleb is and comes in. The plan's working, and then you fire him. I also think there's nothing America loves more than agreeing, no, I don't have to worry about a single trait. You're just terrible. Because before this week, listen, the one thing I can tell you about Eberflus's other crushing defeats this season, I was not worried about his late game management.
No.
It's what they have going for him.
Yeah.
If anything, the play calling got better when Caleb Williams started calling plays. Listen, they fricked it all up and started talking to folks here. Caleb Williams also said, like, I think the biggest issue is Caleb Williams admitted that, like, he didn't understand how much time was supposed to be left. So he started changing the thing to like, oh, we have to win it on this play, which one way or another was clearly not the plan of the coaching staff. So
correct. And by the way, rookie mistakes. Like, 100%. I think this is fully on him. He should take the blame. It is what it is, but it's not an unexpected thing for a rookie to make late game time management issues. Like,
by the way, that's not the reason they're only in a position to win this game is because Jared Goff throws the weirdest interception of all time.
True. Yeah. Did some Jared Goff stuff. Kind of like Kirk Cousins did some Kirk Cousins stuff yesterday too.
And just washed away the sands of time. No, Thanksgiving football was everything you wanted. We had two close games and two bad games. What are the close games? Not good.
Well,
Giants Cowboys is sick.
Bad. Just, we didn't deserve that.
No. Cowboys should lose their Thanksgiving rights. I was like, oh man. And then
could you imagine Jerry? He might die. That's too much.
The Lions should get to play 2 games on Thanksgiving.
True. Why not?
And if you're not a Packers fan, that game had to be boring.
For sure. And like I said on Lombardi Sweep, we talked about it though. There's nothing more that Wisconsin sports fans like, and Packer fans or Wisconsin Badger fans in particular, than a team from down south coming up to play in cold temperatures. This is what we live for. It usually doesn't play out exactly the correct way because, believe it or not every player on the Packers is from Wisconsin either. But boy, Mike McDaniel was shivering on the sideline, and the commentators buried him. They're talking about how they brought in 2 tons of cold weather gear because they're so cold. They had these thermal wetsuits on underneath.
Yeah.
They had these heated bench. They have hot cocoa on the sidelines. Like they were just burying them. And if you're a Wisconsin sports fan, you're like, oh, these guys are soft trying to come up here and play. It's not even cold out. Like, imagine if it was cold out. It was beautiful. It was so good.
Well, and it is very Packers. They should do this all the time, by the way. Not the Lombardi sweep, but I will say some Packer love, unrequited Packer love here for a moment. They should do this more often. Run out of spite. It's cold. Here's some Josh Jacobs in your face.
Yeah. Why we
my favorite NFL player?
He's been good. When he's pissed off and playing pissed off, that's all we want.
He runs like he hates you, and I love it.
Yes. Yeah, he might. Aaron Jones, that's his only issue. He's one of the best running backs, but he's too good of a guy.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
By the way, oh man, the Viking game. Damn, dude.
So stupid.
So stupid. There's so many places in the NFL to jump around to. John Harbaugh, former special teams head coach, has pointed out in the chat 100%. That game just blows up on him.
Randy Harbaugh is the special teams coach for Andy Reid.
I'm not a Vikings fan. I hate the Vikings. I hate that they won. I wish death upon JJ McCarthy. Not death, but
you did.
Him.
You cursed him, and immediately there was consequences.
Bad things will happen to him, is what I said, and then he got hurt. It was not good. Hey, was I wrong?
No, you were not wrong. Whether it's a prediction or a curse, you did what you had to do.
By the way, Vikings fans, you're welcome.
True. And now they have Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Boy, what a white quarterback room.
Hey, can we talk about, I didn't know if I was going to bring it up, but as long as we're talking about Daniel Jones and being a white quarterback, are we kidding with the whole, I had to listen to 6 years of Lamar Jackson post MVP if he should be a wide receiver, and Daniel Jones gets moved to safety for one practice and we pick up the picket signs.
Yeah, this is inexcusable. How could he do? He's a quarterback through and through.
He's can't throw.
It doesn't matter. He's white.
Taysom Hill's out there doing the Lord's work right now. We're going to lose him soon. And you got Daniel Jones right there.
Breaking news for you, Jake. Tore his PCL or ACL. He's out for the season. We just lost him, actually.
Told you we're going to lose him even sooner than I thought.
Yeah, very quick. Very quick. He might be done. He's like 36. People forget about that because that whole Mormon mission trip.
People forget about that. They do. Everything's going crazy there. Minnesota shouldn't be good. Yeah. I don't know if they are. The NFC North is a wagon.
Yeah. Or they're all a little, Do we think an NFC North team is going to win the Super Bowl? No.
Oh, I don't know. I like the Lions odds.
How many injured? They have 18 guys on IR.
What? Listen, they've got bad juju. They're peaking too early. They're hurt. Yeah. I don't like the thing.
Do you think they beat the Eagles straight up? Because no shot.
Well, not right now. The Eagles are trending so good. This was my other take, which I was going to say, which is hypocritically from a sports talk show. I don't think people should be able to talk about the NFL before week 3. Like, can we talk about the Eagles being
or what?
Take?
Oh, yeah.
My 2 takes coming out of this week are, boy, are the Eagles unbelievable. And, oh my God, maybe the 49ers aren't going to get better. And it's like, what were we doing in week 2? Like, everyone was just like, this is the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on both sides of that. So I've been saying the Eagles have been good the entire season. So check. That's good for me.
Yeah.
49ers. I really thought this was going to turn around. And holy fuck. They are like part of me is still like, yeah, they're like middle of the road in the NFL. And that's not true. If they play the Panthers next week, I don't know who I'm taking.
Yeah. Well, and what was the other team? My better example was everyone going, "Oh my God, look how hot the Cardinals are." Wrong. The Cardinals are still bad. Like we got to
People
take
still
a deep
like
breath.
them.
I know, but people are idiots. Like
True.
You can't lose a
That is true.
point to the Vikings. People like the Vikings more than I do. Listen, maybe they'll win that division. They're screwed. People
whole
aren't talking
division's
about the
bad.
people aren't talking about the Buccaneers enough. Like there are
Agreed.
good football teams in other divisions. The NFC North, I think, has 3 of them. I'll let people at home pick which 3 those are. But and
True.
then
Bears play teams tough.
Bears play teams tough, and the Packers are cuckoo for cuckoo pants. I think
They're the luckiest team in the NFL. They are insane. Well, and Chiefs.
Better to be lucky than good. You know, we've heard that saying a million times.
It is true. That is true.
And also, there's no doubt God loves Lucas Van Ness. You can put that on a t-shirt. There's no way he doesn't get a strip sack when he absolutely doesn't deserve it this season.
That's probably true.
Lucas Van Ness is drenched in good things will happen to him undeservedly.
To be fair, he's never gotten to play before, though.
I know.
He didn't play at Iowa. He didn't play here.
He rushed the passer 5 times this game, and they're like, Lucas Van Ness is really coming into his own.
Yeah, that's fair. Every color commentator is Chris Collinsworth, I guess, at this point, because they focus on one guy, and they're going to shoehorn their opinion in.
Yeah. Lucas Van Ness is going to do something he does not deserve this year. You heard it here first from another white guy. And by the way, rooting for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But maybe I'm bitter because listen, tough weekend to be an Iowa hater because Iowa, walked right up to freaking Nebraska's head coach and made him shake his hand.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
So Van Ness is on a roll. The Commanders and the Eagles look good in the East. I think the NFC's having a little moment.
They're having a moment, I guess. I'm Commanders, boy. I still think their defense is absolute trash, but Jane Daniels is so good.
So good. And listen, the AFC, 2 unknown. I told you to start the show. I'm going to give you flowers on the take you said 6 weeks ago. You said on this very program, this award-nominated program.
Someone find it for me, please.
And you said the Bengals and the Chargers have swapped places. And you...
does feel that way.
The Bengals are full Chargers. It's unbelievable. We're never going to win another game. They're the worst team in football, and they're going to have a 500 record.
Right. We know what they're destined for, and for that reason, I don't know what their record is right now, but they're about to go on a run because they will play themselves out of a good draft pick. I can guarantee it.
It's insane how well they play every team to lose.
Their offense is insane. Joe Burrow, if you take his numbers, is this is the best football he's ever played. Too bad no one else on his team's good.
But Russell Wilson's playing so good that it makes me think the Broncos are worse than they are.
We'll see tonight. I mean, everyone's like, the Broncos are going to destroy the Browns. But if Jameis,
it's a beautiful day.
Why are people doubting Jameis Winston right now? I'm doing my quarterback rankings for fantasy, and it's the Broncos, I think, are fully legit. I think their defense is incredible. And by no metric, by no nothing, Jameis Winston should be good tonight. But I need to see his pregame speech, because if he gives a huge pregame speech, he might go for 500.
Unwavering faith.
It's not about the lights. It's not about the cameras. It's not about the action. But it is about the action.
God damn, somebody jump off sides. That was my favorite one. I also love he starts with, hey, I just want to say, everybody, drive home safe today. Jameis, the people you're talking to are in their cars. They can't hear you. He's the best. We don't deserve him. Okay, can we do this list quick? Who are the wagons? That's the list I want to go. I just want to go through the league and I go, Chiefs, wagon. I just want to throw them on there. They're legit. All right. So I'll throw them to you. You tell me wagon or not wagon. Okay. Wagon or dragon?
Great.
Pretty good. All right.
Great.
Chiefs.
Wagon, of course.
Yeah, they've got it, don't they? They've got it figured out. The second best Friday night game.
They just destroyed the Panthers. So what are you going to do?
Destroyed them. They got it right.
And the Raiders. Yeah.
True.
Easy.
Bills.
Dragon. Like, we need to stop pretending. Like, they just won a regular season game. That's crazy. I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah. Wavering faith. Ravens.
Wagon. Not the. How weird is it? The weakest part of the Ravens is Justin Tucker.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Like, they win 2 or 3 of their losses if he is just normal Justin Tucker.
Yeah, it's wild when these great kickers have like a yip season.
That's clearly what it is. I mean, I almost, maybe this is too simplistic, but he was talking about preseason. He put on like 10 pounds of muscle because of the new kickoff, and maybe it threw something off. Maybe he worked one side of his body and not the other side. You know, who knows?
Ball might just be going further faster than it's used to. You know, can't miss by as much.
He's too strong. He has to get weak.
I think, listen, everything comes back to the Packers for me, I guess. I think he needs a Mason Crosby Bengals game where he just misses 6 kicks and wins anyway. Just get it out of your season. Get it out of your system.
That game was insane.
The greatest game of all time. McPherson celebrating a missed kick because it hit the little dangly flag. Just unbelievable. Someone's got to lose. Someone's got to lose. We don't know who it's going to be. One of these kickers. I love that they kept sending the kickers out. That was my favorite part about that game. One of you is going to redeem yourselves. We don't know who.
We will stay here until there's a make kick. We're not going to score a touchdown. We're not going to do any of that. Yeah, insane.
All right, Lions.
Wagon. They're a wagon.
All right. The team I was thinking of, because I'd call them a wagon. I want to know your opinion. The Steelers.
They're a wagon. They're waking.
I've never been more in on Danger Russ.
Russ is playing good. George Pickens is a fucking menace to society. They're running right. They're running the ball fine, and their defense obviously is insane.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play them. I'm like, hold on. I think the Steelers are just like an all-around great team.
Really good team. Yeah.
Yeah. Eagles.
Wagon. They might be the best team in the league.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, this is my other take. This is I promised Claire I would say it on here. Hard Knocks, what are we doing? You can't, she's been saying this all week. You can't make us root for the Giants and the Bears and then do this to us.
I mean, I guess Hard Knocks did very different things for very different people. They created the biggest clown show in New York for me. And then the Bears, it was beautiful. The opening scene of Hard Knocks, which is the only episode I watched because I couldn't watch anymore. The opening scene, they played Michael Jordan's intro for Caleb Williams. And then they're like, we're not comparing the two. Okay. What were you doing?
Chicago's baby root for them. New York's, we talked about it when it happened. It was, for me too, it was like, oh my God, this Joe Shane guy's an idiot.
And they're keeping him, I think. I think they might fire Daboll and keep him.
100%. Listen, I think that's 100% what'll happen. You took the words out of my mouth, which is the reason she's rooting for the Giants is she had never seen Brian Daboll before.
Sure. Daboll's great.
Love him. She's like, well, I like him. And some of the players they showed. So, and I was like, I don't even know who she is. They also really chose to focus on that one female scout. And she's like, does she ever do any interviews? And I'm like, no, I did not. I really think this is her moment in the sun, but I'm glad you like her so much.
Yeah. And Pater in the chat says Lions will go 2-3 the rest of the season. I don't disagree at all.
But they'll be hard fought.
It'll be hard fought. This Thursday will determine a lot. Packers play the Lions on Thursday. So Packers obviously surging. Lions playing well, but so many injuries. If the Packers get one on them, that could be tough.
And their strength of schedule is second hardest remaining for any team. So
they have tough games. They got the Bills yet.
Packers, Bills, Bears in Chicago, 49ers in San Francisco, and then ending the year against the Vikings.
Yeah, tough schedule. You live on the internet less than me, so I wonder if you've even heard of this story. Did you know that Jahmyr Gibbs on on Instagram posted all of their signal calls.
I did see that because I saw Dan Campbell roll his eyes. I didn't know he had that emotion.
Yes, yeah. So he found out during the press conference, and he was very upset, like just moving, touching his head a lot, touching his face a lot, very upset. But then he came back today. He was like, "We don't care. We might release our full playbook. Like we just got to play well." And I love because the smart coach, the intellectual coach, not necessarily smart, would say that and then change all their signals. I honestly feel like Lions don't give a fuck, and they're just going to do the same thing. They're going to keep it all.
Yeah.
And I really respect that and like that. It probably won't work, but I love that.
Listen, if the Lions don't shoot themselves in the foot, they're better than you. They're healthy and they're playing smart. So hell, go
offense, defense they're not. Their pass rush is not good.
No, I agree. Defense hasn't recovered. I can't believe Zadarius Smith didn't fill that.
Well, Rodrigo's hurt now. I think he's out for the season. Anzalone, too many.
I think we're a week away from them teaching Sam Laporta how to pass rush. That's what I really think is going to happen out there.
Is there any rules against Dan Campbell lining up for a couple snaps? Because that'd be terrifying too.
That would be. I go through that exercise of wagon and dragon just to say I think there are a lot of good NFL teams, and I've kind of hit a point like I'm into it, but I think the part I'm in on is like I get depressed when I think about who's going to win the Super Bowl because that answer hasn't changed
Chiefs?
for me. Yeah. But everybody else, I'm like, there's so much good football kind of spread around. I think there's a huge gap between good teams and terrible teams.
I think most of the league's pretty bad. But, I mean, there's like 6 good teams, and they're fine. It does feel like we're going to get a Kelsey Super Bowl to me. It feels like it's going to be Eagles and Chiefs. Apparently, Jason Kelsey has a late-night TV show, so I think that's probably going to be huge for the Super Bowl. People are going to really start turning on the Kelseys even more than they are for no real reason other than just pure saturation.
Yeah.
But,
The Eagles, if the Eagles win it all, they let him put on the mummer suit one more time, right? He gets to give a speech anyway. Yeah.
Got to. I mean,
he might choose not to. He seems like the kind of guy who would like really beat himself up for not being on that team.
If he has he's got his own platform on the podcast. He's going to do it and do something. He might not do it during the parade. He'll be there during the parade, though. Guarantee that.
If he gets the invite to be part of that, I hope he chooses to accept it. I think he will feel pressure not to because that's the kind of guy he seems to be, but I hope he chooses to.
Agreed.
That said, I'm going to tell you right now, if I had to book the rest of the NFL season, which by the way, somebody is, I want more. I'm going to give you my 2 favorite games from the weekend. And I want more games like this every week. Okay. I love an undercard. Okay. Everyone talks about, okay, we've all figured out. Congrats. You figured out 5 years after us that the NFL was booked. Nice job. We were telling you the whole time. But
that is true.
Now embrace it and look at the undercard. Because, we booked the Chiefs. Sure. But that we also have to give you Colts Patriots.
Yeah. That's a fun game.
Those games are awesome. We're just fighting out the dumpster. That's Spike Dudley going through a wall.
That is true. That is a good point. Everyone loves Spike Dudley.
Yeah, this is Raven in a golf cart.
Raven in
the golf cart is Aaron Rodgers. That's 100% what's happening. No one thought the Jets would be the undercard act, but they are. They're the heel you beat up as you get your push.
Tonight could be another one of those. I understand people are kind of thinking the Broncos are legit. They're not, but tonight could be a very fun game.
Jameis Winston's getting a little push right now.
Big push. And that's what this, I think he's just a 1-year deal. So if he can sign somewhere next year, the momentum Jameis can build here is very fun. Someone needs to pay this guy.
Jacksonville Jameis coming at you next year.
As head coach?
I hope they let him do it all.
Sure. Why not?
At least press reporter. Could he do all the conferences?
He should. He's so fun, man.
But NFL's got a good undercard right now. Their top of the heap is a little at certain spots, but
even the bad teams are just they're playing teams tougher. Like the Panthers look good all of a
Can
sudden.
someone give the Panthers their flowers? Thank you. The Panthers
Yeah.
are kind of kicking ass. The Giants are fun to watch.
Bryce Young all of a sudden is like, but I love the people now that are coming out. They're like, told you he wasn't a bust. Like, brother, where have you been? You did not speak up for him a month ago. But he's playing super well.
You were pretty silent there. Yeah. Baker Mayfield can't get a press conference where they don't ask him about something that didn't happen in the football game.
For sure. And they think it's all quirky. He gives good answers. I love the Italian reporter asking him if he's Italian, basically.
And he was like, I don't know. I didn't do 23andMe. Great response.
Yeah, exactly. Such a good response.
Probably got some in there. And then he's got to answer 6 questions about, what do you think about this whole flag thing? Hey, reporter, let me answer that for you. He's pro flags.
Yeah.
He did it. What do you think he's going to say?
So stupid. Whatever. But yeah, there's some, Bears are must watch for very different reasons. Titans, like we said, like a month ago, like that's the most wrong we've ever been on this show. We thought they were going to be the most boring team, most nothing team this year. Will Levis playing like shit and laughing his ass off on the sideline, going ballistic this week. Fantastic. That's so fun to watch.
Yeah, the Bengals have to put everybody over. No one's giving the Bengals enough credit. They're really selling for everybody right now. All their games are good.
All of them.
All their games are good. I think if I had to pick one streamline, like who's I don't know if I want the Broncos to be the team I'm like rooting to sneak into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like I got my eye on Seattle.
Seattle's fun. And they have a great shot. They're leading that division. So
Gino and the boys sneaking in, that's a fun team to watch. That's a great team to lose to the Eagles in round 1.
That's true. Let me look at the playoff standings here. Okay, so Browns, obviously, if they could sneak in some way, somehow, that would be the most electric thing of all time.
Oh, I actually have a great one in the NFC. Give me, if the Rams are healthy at the right time, set the world on fire, Matt Stafford. I'm back in. I'm off of the whole tank forever. I want that. Yeah. I want the historical lesson of that trade costing you for all time. Now I'm just back on. Do it for Puka.
He's a treasure. Their D lineman right now is on The Masked Singer, it seems like. He's fantastic.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And Aaron Donald
is pissed about it.
For sure. And they should just get Aaron Donald back for the playoff run. Why not? Who says no?
Not Miller.
True. They would be super fun. Love Puka. Why not the Cowboys? Wouldn't that be the most Cowboys thing of all time? Like Mike McCarthy needs to die. He's the worst human of all time. The sun is too bright, and all of a sudden they sneak into the playoffs. Like, why are you here? You guys were supposed to be bad.
Yeah, they would be fun to sneak in. Here's a guy no one's talking about. If Anthony Richardson gets Joe Flacco to the playoffs,
that's true.
Because he's going to get hurt right beforehand, and then we get Joe Fly. One more run in the sun.
Who do the Colts play? That is a very, very good point. And seems likely, to be honest. Okay, so they play.
Poor Drake May. Sorry, it's a one-sentence take, but poor Drake May. Something's happening out there. Jared Mayo's got to work on it.
Yes, he does. Drake May is great, though. You're right. Colts play Broncos, Titans, Giants, Jags. So losing Anthony Richardson up 30 to the Jags feels likely, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, why is he still in? And he just tried to truck Aluakon and got hurt. Something like that.
Yeah, they are weirdly more protective of Joe Flacco than they are of Anthony Richardson, which is weird. So,
gotta be.
That also has that happens against DeVito and the boys also feels correct.
Do they go back to DeVito now? That would be disgusting. They might.
I don't know. He only didn't start this week because of an injury.
I know.
I think Joe Shane believes in him.
He might. But why? Drew Lock was crying when DeVito got fucking the job. It was the saddest thing of all time. He's like, I guess I'll prepare. I'll help him. But what do you want me to do and say? Why do I have to answer questions about this doofus over here being the starting quarterback?
Drew Lock, by the way, deserves the job.
Of course.
He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He should be.
He was drafted to be, and then he never really got a shot. DeVito was at the fucking Italian kitchen per Grok.
It's called Olive Garden. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another name for it. Yeah, for sure. I think that's regional. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
When you hear your family.
If the Giants at least should see what they got in Drew Lock at this point, who cares? The season's just about fun now.
If I could give the Giants any suggestions, it would be see what you got. It's all you can do right now.
Pick up a quarterback, play him every week.
Lose as many games as you can.
That too.
Because somehow Carolina's going to get some wins here. They're trying.
I mean, that is the perfect. Carolina's doing the perfect thing. Like, if they can play every team tough and lose the rest of the way, what a way. I mean, that's kind of what the Patriots are doing a little bit too.
Well, it's exactly what the Bengals are doing, but they're not trying to.
True. Yeah, I mean, Panthers' schedule is not easy. They got the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Bucks, the Falcons. And every game's going to be a one-score game.
Oh, by the way, I love when this happens. This is my favorite thing that happens on the show. You talk me through the logistics of the season, and then my third eye opens up, and I can look at the whole board, and I go, there's no world where that last game doesn't cost Kirk Cousins everything.
It does feel that way. Yeah.
That's the Panthers' one win. That's who they get, is they beat Kirk Cousins, and down they go. That's what keeps Atlanta out.
In Atlanta, too. And that just ushers in the Michael Penix era. There we go.
Which we were delaying for some reason.
I mean, boy, Kirk gets to play the Vikings this week. Obviously, you got to let him do that. He lobbed it up into five guys in the end zone this week. He did a little floater. Like, let's just see what happens here.
There's a lot of guys we're not talking enough about. Kirk's one of them.
Whew. Yeah, he's not great, but he's rich. And that's the Falcons' issue.
So funny. But it's okay because we're not paying Penix anything.
That's right. Our quarterback room, if you add them together, it's actually pretty cheap.
For two starting quality. Of course, we can only play one of them. And arguably not the right one.
And we desperately need an edge rusher. There was a lot on the board when we drafted Penix, but we believe in Penix. We're not going to play him, but we believe in him. He's going to be good someday, just not for us.
That should be the name of a movie about the enemy. He's going to be good someday, just not for us. And then it's just a show about Sam Darnold and Michael Penix. And
that's the New York Jets. Yeah. The New York Jets story.
Geno Smith. Yeah, absolutely. Baker Mayfield. It's the Browns and the Jets.
Browns too. Yeah. That's true.
Which, by the way, was the first version of West Side Story.
Right. And Jameis might do the recreation here tonight.
Jameis Winston coming out and being like, everybody watch Wicked this weekend is exactly what I think is going to happen.
He's going to have some, I don't know Wicked, but he's going to have some reference, obviously, at the line of scrimmage for a thing tonight.
I'm out there defying gravity. Yeah, I don't know. Just yelling at everybody. But Zach, speaking of yelling at everybody, if you enjoyed the show, what we do here, please vote for us, volume1.org. And also, come celebrate with us next week. It's the 200th special.
Yeah. 200 episodes of this thing. And it's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a feel-good episode. So, and you know what? A lot of shows say, it's a celebration. It's more about you. Next week's going to be about us. Okay?
Fully.
And what better way to start that off than by voting for us best podcast, volume1.org. You got until Friday to vote. And I know it's only 2 episodes. We've been telling you about it, and got to say that's usually one more episode than we usually tell you. We've given you ample time to vote this time. So definitely go do that. Vote for the FlurrySports Podcast. Vote for Lombardi Sweep, and vote for I Don't Think So. Let's sweep it. 1, 2, 3. Bang, bang, bang. Let's do it.
That'd be good. As long as we don't lose to I Don't Think So, I don't think I'd be okay with that.
It'd be a little funny. To be honest.
It'd be very funny.
Yeah.
But it would be funny until we showed up to someplace they were also at.
Could you? Just going out for like beers with them.
Yeah.
And people running up and recognizing them.
I can't live in that world. They're carrying around. By the way, they're not recognizing them. It's just they're reading the sash that says, "Ask me about my trophy."
True. Yeah, they would have t-shirts with the trophy on it for sure.
Yeah, award-winning podcasters sprayed across their chest. Yeah.
And we would have the award-nominated podcast 4 years running. You know what I mean?
That's right. Unwinning, untied.
True. 30 for 30 really cursed us. I'm not about it. But next week,
what if
episode 200. What if I told you? What if I told you 2024 is the year?
2024 is the year. Tune in next week. We've got a song, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh, come back. Song.
And as a tease, it's targeted at Zach's childhood.